I'm using YouTube as a diary. I call it Last Days Corona Virus 19 Last Days. Uh, I've known for 2 years my time was running out, and I knew something bad was going to happen. I get visions, and this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal because I am doing it for the children hundreds of years from now, because I have no hope in hell of saving them now. They will be born with my disease. And what you are all experiencing right now, I have been living with since 1986. But I found a way to reverse the brain damage and the autoimmune disorder. It can be controlled with garlic pills, which is, as long as they're coated, because I have to take a lot when I get a cold virus. It turns into lung infection very fast, which is why I cannot possibly survive COVID-19. Which doesn't matter to me, quite frankly. I've been rescued by dead people, and I get visions, and dying is not my problem. It's waiting and knowing that I'm going to suffer terribly, because if I last a year, that means my dentist will be dead, and I'm going to wind up with gum disease again, and I'm going to suffer horrible pain again, and been there, done that. And I've been fighting for survival since I'm 6 years old. And I get very tired of it. But as long as I feel that I could be of some benefit to humanity, I will keep trying, and I will keep fighting. I'm not so sure about my partner, Dan. He's been known to take overdoses on sleeping pills and nearly die when I didn't live with him full time. Anyway, the research that I have developed, it's called okra, is a natural amphetamine. And I have that all on Facebook, and once I'm dead, Facebook won't take me down right away, so it'll still be available. And anyway, it doesn't matter. There's going to be tech geeks out there that will be able to access my stuff 200 years from now. I know that, so I'm not worried about it. The okra diet for disease control is also on YouTube, and that's never going to go anywhere. So sometimes I get really upset how easy it is for people to go viral when I know that my research is really important. But nothing I can do about that. And I'm not the only one who's been warning about coming plagues to the planet, poisoning our air, food, and water. We can't keep doing that. But you know, the profiteering bastards, they don't give a shit. Kevin O'Leary really pisses me off big time. Multi-millionaire jackass supporting Monsanto. And proud of it. You know, anyway. It's worse in Canada than in the United States for a lot of reasons. This is not a democracy. We think it is, but it isn't. Our laws are designed for criminals, and it's easy to commit fraud, and it's easy to steal the senior's home. And you can be divorced in secret and not even have the right to be notified. That's Canada. So there's a lot of fake propaganda out there about what's really going on. So I'm doing this daily journal because I've been bleeding for 10 days. And I don't have the virus yet. This is just normal. And I, at first, I wasn't the least bit concerned about it because I knew I was going to die anyway. But I watched TMZ, my favorite go-to news program, because they tell it like it is. And Harvey's just an amazing human being. Love him. And the blacks are getting hit harder than the whites. And some of the scientists think it's centuries of poverty and diet. Well, I'm here to tell you that my great-grandmother lived in poverty, but she had a garden and she had a farm. And although they were in poverty, they ate really well. They had beef, chickens, pork, eggs, wheat, corn, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, berries up the yin-yang, blackberries, which we don't even see much of today, and gooseberries. We used to call them Saskatoon berries. I don't know why, but you know. So poverty 100 years ago wasn't like it is today. Today you're on the streets. I've been there more than once. Because I would take a tax and I would be in a blackout for months at a time. So I'd lose my job. And I would lose my apartment, and I'd lose everything. And I have to start all over again. And the Salvation Army helped me, and the Seventh-day Adventists helped me, and a Jamaican boy helped me, and pimps, hookers, mafia dons, lots of people helped me. But lots of people also raped me and put me through torture, particularly 1983. And every time I bleed, I go into flashbacks of the 5 months, because it's called traumatic amnesia. I knew he was doing something horrible to me because I was bruised and bleeding and bleeding from the bum. So you get the picture. I'm not going to give you details. But I finished my autobiography, and it's as good as it's ever going to get, and it's on Google Docs. But today I am 36 years clean and sober. And I dropped out of AA for a reason. Because I don't have anything good to tell you. The only thing that clean and sober did for me was give me Dan, who's been taking care of me on and off for 36 years. Gave me Tom, who rescued me from when Dr. Brian Lynch tried to kill me. Psychopath, and the doctors would not. And the police wouldn't even investigate. Goddamn psychopath. You name it, I've been there. My life has been a holocaust. The only thing that staying clean and sober did for me is that when I take an attack, I know it's not alcohol and I know it's not drugs. But it didn't make my life any different, except that I was able to relearn to read and write, because my disease wiped out my memory, which is why I lost everything, and I was left on the streets to die. And the doctors of 23 years wouldn't even sign my disability insurance. See, this is Canada, but they couldn't have got away with any of that shit that I have been through in the United States. Because you really do have a democracy. You got a lot wrong with you. The gun, your addiction to guns is completely psychopathic. And I don't know what it's going to take for you as a nation to ban guns. I don't know. Because you are so into violence, it's just ridiculous. But but if it wasn't for that and your racism, I was in New York, and I had very wealthy millionaires want me to stay in New York in 1968. And I just couldn't handle your goddamn racism. It drove me crazy. But yeah, it was a mistake. I should have stayed. I would have been published a long time ago, and I'm not saying I didn't manage in my own way to save a few lives. I managed to get gas masks with the help of Americans, by the way. No Canadian would lift a finger to help me. It's typical. But the American Steelworkers Union executives helped me. And from there, small local papers, not national, they just boycott me, still do. But back in the days when I was researching in 86, the tabloids were not into the celebrities. They were into people like me. So I was able to find out that there's hundreds of thousands of us all over the planet living in isolation in different places. And through that publicity, I was able to contact a number of groups, and I got a lot of research. But none of them had the diet that I discovered in a vision. Believe me, I wouldn't have done it any other way, because who the hell knew that okra would be a natural amphetamine and reverse brain damage? But if the beings on the other side hadn't sent me the visions and hadn't rescued me several times, I would have never, ever, ever, I wouldn't be here now, and I would have never finished the work and the diet for the disease control. Because, you see, they don't really want us to destroy the planet and our species. Sometimes I wish we would, because really, we're so psychotic. I still can't get over Turkey bombing Syria and the children in the hospitals, and why everybody just sits back and doesn't do anything about it. I boycott. I boycott Mexico. I boycott Brazil. I boycott Turkey now. I'm only one person, but if we would boycott these countries and Russia, and that Putin jerk, because we were boycotting China, and look what happened. They're as close to capitalism as you can get. So boycotting works. Anyway, on the positive side, there will be a vaccine. I can promise you that, because economically we can't survive, and greed will save your butts, people. Yes, greed. But this is only the first wave. There's more coming. And never mind about the Bible. I'm not going to go there. I don't get involved in that. I don't pray to anything born on the planet. Fiddle-dee-dee. If I only pray to the universe, the creator of the universe, that was not a human being. So I take a great deal of issue with religious cults, because that's basically what they are. There isn't one of them that's perfect, because they keep worshiping themselves, basically. That's what they're doing. Anyway, I don't know what more I can say, except that later I'm going to try and go to the beach and get a little bit of fresh air. I don't care if it's 15 minutes. It's better than what I'm getting in this apartment. But my allergy attack broke yesterday, and I was able to breathe without 300 garlic pills. But that's my life, yeah. So wherever you are, look up okra diet for disease control. It's like getting clean and sober. It doesn't matter what your disease is, it's going to make it a little bit better. No, it's not going to cure it. Not going to, I have no medical treatment. I have no cure. I completely control this disease since 1986 myself, and I literally live with dying. I take terminal attacks. Unbelievable how I suffer. But I do it for the children. I do it for the children. For in the children there is hope. But we have to get back to educating our children. They need to know about germs and viruses and bacteria. I was taught that when I'm 78, okay, so I was taught that. And I was in a Catholic school, and I'm not saying they were the smartest on the planet, but by geez, they at least taught you that. And we were made to stay home if we coughed and had even a simple cold virus. We weren't allowed to spread that all over the damn place. But, once we got antibiotics, we got very complacent. It was the cure-all and end-all. Well, I got news for you. It ain't. It ain't so. But there are far worse coming. This is just the first phase. Because we're poisoning ourselves and our animals and our air and our food and our water and our planet, things are mutating, people. We are causing mutations. God didn't cause this. We did. So I wish I could be on a happier note. But it's got nothing right now. I'm depressed, yeah, but I'm not depressed because of the coronavirus. This is the way I've been living for a very long time. What I'm depressed about is when I try to go for a walk, damn families are all bunching up together and they got their dogs running loose, and our police refuse. Of course, that's nothing new. In Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, by the way, the police are very good at doing nothing. They won't go after when somebody commits fraud. They won't go after when somebody steals your home in fraud. They won't go after rape. No. When we had to leave our house, our apartment, on Pine Street because it was infested with mice. There is a police person that helped me. But that has nothing to do with the police chief. He's a bloody jackass, and they have been operating under that redneck, don't give a shit attitude for the last 100 years. And somebody's got to clean that up. But and some of those cops go around beating up young guys just for the sheer pleasure and sadistic pleasure of it, and they get away with it. And you don't hear about it because our media won't talk about what's really going on in Canada. Oh, they're very busy looking at the Americans. Oh, look at the Americans do, how bad they are. What? But they won't look at what we're doing in Canada. They're very busy looking at everything that everybody else is doing wrong, but they don't take a goddamn good look at their own backyard. Anyway, I'm calling it Last Days. This is my diary, and I don't know what number it is. It doesn't matter. This is April 10th, 2020. So stay safe. If I could isolate on and off for 36 years and survive, and I have a dangerously low T and B cell function, you can survive. Okay? That's the good news I am leaving you with. Yes, you can survive. And try to be more selfless. I want you to survive for something more than just yourself and making money. You know, that's why I love TMZ. Like, Hardy likes to make money, why not? But he's humanitarian, and he's got heart, and he cares, and he does whatever he can in the community. And he keeps us informed, and he tells us the truth. And we need more people like that. And Cardi B, God bless her, she's not just sitting on her money, and she's giving a bunch back and helping out. You're not seeing much of that in Canada. I'm going to tell you a very quick little story. The owner of Virgin Airlines, I forget his name. He is out in some little island. I'm sure he's okay. He came to Toronto one time, and when he saw the homeless in Toronto, he was disgusted. And he purchased a warehouse to create a place where they could have a bed and get out of the cold in the winter. Now, why didn't our millionaire Canadians think of doing that? Our addicts shouldn't be allowed loose on the streets. Our schizophrenics shouldn't be allowed loose on the streets. We should have housing. And you want to know something? We used to. And you evil politicians, you closed them all down. Mike Harris in particular, to name one. But there were others. They closed them all down. They have to be taken off the streets and put into treatment programs, not for 28 days. They have to live there for 2 to 3 years. There are mental health issues behind the alcoholism. No 9-year-old child wants to be an addict, but if they're being brutally tortured the way I was as a child, you're suicidal. Dan didn't become an alcoholic because he liked being drunk. He became an alcoholic because he hated life, and he hated himself, and he hated his family, and he hated the world. But if you think about the children, focus on the children, give them a better education. 2.5 hours a day is disgusting. And that's what we have in Canada. I don't know about Americans. And we should have a minimum of 3 languages. If Europe can do 5, we can do 3. We're not teaching them anything. They come out of college and they're as useless as tits on a bull. It's not their fault. And what's worse, they're egotistical. They think they know it all. And they don't know a shit. Yeah, fight for survival, but do it for the children. And make it a better world. And it's not hard to do that. It really isn't. You just have to have the will. So, Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Trudi. Got no voice, that's the allergies. Happy birthday to me. Yep, 36 years. And it wasn't easy. So it's one accomplishment, but I have accomplished many other things because of sobriety. Okay, people. Love to everybody, and enjoy your day somehow. And I got to try to find a way to get more exercise. I'm up to 145 pounds, and that's not good. And it's not about just the pot belly, you know. It's that, hey, I take crippling attacks. My brain doesn't send the signal to my legs. So what happens is that I can't climb a step that high. I have to use my arms. It's like lifting up dead body weight. It's brutal. And that's because my system can't tolerate the slightest bit of poisoning. And I'm allergic to the planet. I'm allergic to the plaque in my mouth. I'm allergic to everything. There was a time when they called me the bubble person because I was actually sleeping and working and doing everything in a bubble gas mask that was donated to me by MSA in Pittsburgh. Yeah, and they're wonderful, MSA. They are wonderful. And they know what they're doing. And I'm really sorry about our doctors and nurses not having proper equipment. When I fought in 1989 for proper equipment for the military and the firemen and the men in the mines, I had no idea that we were leaving our doctors and our nurses that vulnerable. We weren't that dumb 100 years ago. What the hell happened to you people? Anyway, not much I can do about that. If there was a way, I would. But somebody out there has money, and they can donate enough money to get masks and proper equipment for our hospitals. And when it comes time to vote, I won't be here. But I want you to remember, you get the government you deserve because of who you voted for. So don't complain. Get out and vote. Especially women. We fought long and hard for our vote. And more than half of you don't even bother. And I'm sorry I sound like I'm preaching, but I'm a little bit ticked off. Because I'm just seeing such shit going on around me. Stupid. Drunken parties and the police won't break them up. Families bunching together and they don't care. Churches holding services and they don't care. It's terrible. It's completely unnecessary. You know, if we had completely locked down like they did in South Korea, we'd be over it by now. So just remember that. And just because you don't have any symptoms doesn't mean you didn't carry it and aren't responsible for killing about 100 people. That makes you a murderer. So just remember that. When you're patting yourself on the back and saying, oh, I went to Florida and I didn't get sick. No, but you might have made 100 people sick. And there's no way of you knowing that. Just remember that. So that makes you a murderer. So stay safe, stay clean, stay sober, stay healthy, and look up my okra diet for disease control. Why not? And no, it's not vegan. Because I live in the north, and we don't have the kind of access to plant-based food and grow in a backyard because our land is completely toxic, okay? So don't get me started. I'm getting really sick and tired. It's almost like a religious radicalism by these people. Yes, I cut back on meat, and yes, I try to eat more plant-based. But don't be preaching to me that we can't have any meat, because I live in a country where it's not even possible to have nothing but plant. Okay? We do the best we can. Over now. Love everybody. Bye.